Systematic genocide.
A systematic way of destroying a whole race of people.
They say, we are but reformers. Unquestionably, it is they who are the corruptors, but they perceive it not.
Once again, welcome to Dawa and Justice, systematic genocide, the plot to cause blacks in America to die out. Today we want to briefly talk about police killings and the absence of mandatory sentencing for these killers. I think it was in around 2010 or 2009, or it might have been 2000. It was a report by the FBI that said that white supremacists, I like to call them demon devil white supremacists, white supremacist groups throughout America had thoroughly and completely infiltrated the police departments across this country. So it's not a coincidence in my mind that all these killings, for the most part, most of them are not being punished, or if they're being punished, they're not being punished sufficiently. But for the most part, most of them have got off. When you look at what happened with Eric Garner in New York, that was on film. Everybody witnessed that devil Pantangelo, whatever his name was, murder Eric Garner before your very eyes. And he got off scot-free. The coroner ruled the killing as a homicide, and there were no charges filed. We also remember Tamir Rice, who was 9 or 10 years old, with a toy gun. As soon as the police got there, 1 second, 2 seconds after he got there, he shot him dead. A kid with a gun. The same thing with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. George Zimmerman stalked Trayvon Martin like a fox preys on a rabbit. A boy who was going to the store to buy candy and murdered him. Got scot off free. In fact, there was a black woman who volunteered without pay her services to help the defense team get that murderer off. Let me just say this, black men. As long as George Zimmerman is still alive, all of our sons are in danger. Because when that son of a you-know-what killed Trayvon Martin, he didn't know Trayvon Martin from the man on the moon. But when he killed Trayvon Martin, he symbolically killed every young black man in this country. And he got away with it. I'm saying this. If he were to come up dead, I'm not advocating nothing. I'm just talking. I can't advocate. But if he were to come up dead, or if he disappeared like a puff of smoke and was never heard from again, that will increase the pride of blacks all over this country. We would all feel good about that because we all know that when he killed Trayvon, if you got a son, he symbolically killed your son. But let's go back. Let's talk about the word fiend. F-I-E-N-D. Fiend. What is a fiend? You got dope fiends. You got sex fiends. A fiend is someone who can't control whatever his addiction is. But in this case, a fiend is described as a wicked, according to the dictionary, as a wicked or very cruel person, a demon or a devil. Now again, let's go back to around 2010 when the FBI said that the police departments all across this country have been saturated by white supremacist fiends. And now, with all of these murders, and most of them are getting away with murder because the DAs aren't prosecuting, that should let us know and put our politicians on notice that if you don't do nothing about it, we're going to vote you out. But at the same time, we should have trained militias. I'm not advocating going out to kill police, but we should have trained militias, legal militias, to protect us from anyone that seeks to kill us and murder us, even if it is the police. I'm also advocating the same kind of punishment that they advocated during the crack epidemic. In 1986, they passed a law for mandatory sentencing with respect to crack and powder cocaine. Crack, the black communities was flooded with crack, not the white communities. The white communities was using powder cocaine. So they passed mandatory sentencing. 5 grams of crack versus 500 grams of powder cocaine was mandatory 5 years. Just 5 grams. Compare 5 grams. You got mandatory 5 years. Versus 500 grams, you had to have 500 grams of powder cocaine to get 5 years. Who was using crack and who was using powder? For 50 grams of crack versus 5,000 grams of powder cocaine was 10 years. For importing 50 grams of powder cocaine was no mandatory sentencing. Look at the disparity there. All of the laws are targeted to destroy black people. I know a brother who did 32 years in prison. He went to prison at 19. He has no children. I asked him about that. He said, I was in prison. He's in his 60s now. He said, I was in prison during my childbearing years. So once again, a form of genocide is being perpetrated against black people. This is what I see with the government and the police working hand in hand. These are white supremacists who hate black people. They will smile in your face. They will shake your hand. But as soon as you turn your back, there goes the knife. They see black people as vermin. What is vermin? A rat is vermin. A spider in your house is vermin. A mouse in your house is vermin. If you find a rat or a spider or a mouse in your house, your first instinct is to exterminate that. When these white supremacists, police with badges and guns, when they see black people, they see vermin. In a minor traffic stop, in many cases, if not all, has resulted in the murder of a young black man. So what are your politicians doing? They're doing nothing. Why don't you hold them account? Why don't you demand that they pass mandatory sentencing for any police officer of life imprisonment for murdering an unarmed black person? They're not in that to protect your interests. All them Negroes is in there for is to make money. You can be a plumber and become a congressperson, and in 2 years you're a millionaire. What does that say? Thank you for listening.